there were some studies done about who stayed in their field and who didn't.
Yeah.
So people in entertainment were the ones who stayed in their field.
Yes.
It's because we're scrappy and we're gonna do it no matter what, and we have to do it. There's something in us. There's passion, there's heart. There's no other choice for us.
Yes. Yes.
You look like a rock star.
Do I really?
Yeah.
You do.
What?
Because that jacket is like amazing.
I try to look professional.
No, it looks like a rock star jacket.
Oh. Okay. I just never wear like blazers and shit, you know?
I don't either. You don't get that chance.
Yeah, why?
I have like a bright yellow jacket too that I've been saving for a special moment.
Oh my God, what if you wore it?
What if I did? We be 20s. So the last time I saw you was right before you were going to make this movie.
It was so fun.
It looked so fun.
I always tell people that I wish my production experience on every single first-time independent filmmaker, because it all went really smoothly.
Wow.
And there were hiccups.
Yeah.
Right? So like you would lose a location the night before you were supposed to shoot there or whatever, but everything got handled.
Wow.
And we had a great time doing post-production. We did sound at Skywalker Ranch.
Oh my God, I love it there.
Which was incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I got to like sit in George Lucas's seat watching my final sound design.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
With like a tear running down my left cheek.
I love it so much.
I was like, no matter what happens with this movie, I will always remember this moment.
Oh my God, that's so amazing.
Yeah,
that's
it was
so
really
epic.
incredible.
This is a very, very personal story for you, right?
It's a personal story, but it's not an autobiographical story.
So like how close is it to your life?
I mean, I grew up in Greensburg. I shot the movie in my parents' house that I grew up in. Definition Please is about a young girl who wins the National Spelling Bee, and now she's in her 20s, she's an adult, and she hasn't lived up to her potential. Yeah. So she's pretty much living in her mom's basement. She tutors kids around town, but you think like a spelling bee winner will work at NASA or trying to find the COVID vaccine or, you know, working on that kind of stuff. And she's just kind of not doing anything. She's lost and directionless. And that's not really personal to me because I've never been lost and directionless.
Did you do spelling bees growing up?
I did.
Yes. Were you good?
So I did win my 4th grade spelling bee.
Yes.
But I always give the caveat that there were only 8 people in my grade. I went to a really small Catholic school.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I won out of the 8 students. And then I went to regionals, and in the first round, I lost on the word radish.
Oh no!
Do you know how to spell radish?
R-A-D-I-S-H. How did you spell it?
I put 2 D's in there.
No!
I messed it all up. And you know what? I hadn't been like, you know how kids today, they are trained to do the spelling bee.
Yes.
So they learn to ask those questions like definition please, language of origin, can you repeat the word, can you say the word in a sentence? Those are all things that help you kind of think about spelling the word a little bit more. And I was just like, R-A-D-D-I-S-H, because I didn't know to
ask
do
those
that.
questions. Yeah.
And then I like remember getting sad and like kind of trudging over to my teacher, Mrs. Lewis, and she was like so sweet and just like hugged me, and I was like, I'm a disappointment to Holy Cross Elementary School.
But your parents never put that like pressure on you?
No, they were like, oh, you're going to spelling bee, great. Good, you're a speller? Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the characters in your movie, were they written after specific family members or kind of a mixed bag?
It was a mixed bag. It was written after Indian American kids that I grew up with, that I'm friends with, that actually, you know, suffered from mental illness at the time.
Wow.
And we were unaware of how to communicate about what was going on. There would just be like a kid, like Anand would run away from home. And his parents would be like, why did he run away? You know, he gets great grades, he's going to Yale, he's all the great things that an Indian kid should be. And then it's like, no, there was just a lot of pressure put on him to do stuff, and then he would run away. So like, that kept propping up in my life. You know, I went to Case Western, which is a science engineering school, and I was just like, there's something here, and it was specific to the Asian American community.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wanted to explore that in my
amazing.
film with one of my characters.
That's amazing. It's not even with one of your characters. I feel like throughout the whole family and even through friends, there's a pressure to succeed, and it's so unbearable that you see the different ways people either crumble or go forward and succead with it.
Exactly.
So how was that for you, like coming to terms with that on a personal basis?
As soon as we locked the script, I was like, okay, I'm able to be like emotionally disconnected from it. So then emotionally I thought I approached it in a very healthy manner.
You could do that? You could just be like,
yeah, I do that in my life too.
Really?
I did it during the pandemic. I can detach myself from what's going on, which I don't believe is healthy.
Yeah, that is a skill.
But it's a
super. I'm traumatized.
It's a super skill, and then I can get everything done, and I can get work done, and then I'm not like.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, not emotionally invested. Yeah. Speaking of emotion, I want to talk about your movie because it was incredible to watch, and we're coming up on Halloween, and Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. I think it is my favorite holiday.
Yes, me too.
And so watching Black as Night was so fun.
Yay!
And I loved everything about it. I would love to hear your experience of how that all went down, and did you just have a pit in your stomach the first shutdown?
Well, first of all, when you're going into directing, it's terrifying as it is, right? It's terrifying. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you do it, you just have a pit in your stomach because you're like, oh my God, now I have to like make decisions and like guide 200 people to do what I want. And that's like, what? Okay, like who am I to do this? But okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like you just gotta focus, like this is my dream, I'm gonna go forward with it. So they flew me out to New Orleans, which is like my favorite city of all time because it looks like, you're being transported to Europe in this magical land where voodoo exists. And it was during Mardi Gras, so there was parades every single night. Like people were just dancing in the streets.
That's incredible.
I'm like, this is so magical. We start shooting, and it was one of the coolest things ever because we're shooting in this mansion that's over 200 years old. There's just so much embedded history with it because the movie is not just a fun horror film. It's got a lot of deeper meanings with, the oppression of Black people. It spans from slavery to the times of now, and references to what Hurricane Katrina has done to the people there and how people still suffer through that. And so we're shooting for like 2 weeks, everything's going amazing, and I remember I could see the crew like kind of scrolling through their Instagram, through the news, and just like crying and like whispers everywhere, and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? And they're like, okay, people all over the world are like being forced into the hospitals and like freaking out, and I'm like, uh-oh. And one of our actors had a cold. And it was really freaking everyone out. We're like, okay, this person has a cold. The actors don't want to be near or around this person. What do we do? And they end up, shutting the whole thing down. They're like, we're going to go, get everybody tested, make sure everything's all right. Everyone got tested. Nobody had COVID, thank God. But they're like, the rest of the world kind of stopped. And I'm like, what? No. I call my sister. I'm like, we're shooting a movie. We gotta make this movie.
Yeah,
and my sister's like, Marty, the whole world is shutting down. Yeah. You're not special. Go home. And so, we flew back, went back to LA, went hiking for like 4 months, basically.
Right. Yeah. That's what I did too.
Yeah. And then we got to shoot the rest of the movie, but it was such a different world. And we were shooting a vampire movie where we had to wear masks, and like you couldn't bite anybody. There's kissing in it, and so like you'd have to like do the whole theater thing where you're like, okay, let's line up our heads here. Okay, now it looks like, okay, that's the angle. We had to like do this with our heads, and for the bites and stuff like that.
Right.
Literally like there's like a bite in it, and she's like being held like this, and one of the vampires is over her, and we had to like, all right, 3, 2, 1, everyone hold their breaths, look away, and. And we had like PAs with like 6-foot poles, like, you're not far apart enough. It's like all of the elements. It was just like, you just gotta like let it go. You're just like, all right, cool. you know, we're making a movie. This is amazing, but like I can't control all of these crazy things that are happening.
That's one of the biggest things about being a director is you go in with this vision and you're like, oh, everything is going to be perfect, and then you have to make concessions.
Yeah.
And that's part of it, you know, making the decisions, making sure, you know, there were thunderstorms when I was shooting, and we had to bring a lot of the scenes inside. And it was just like, okay, we just had to do it. It wasn't a choice. Yeah. You know, and I was like, okay, so now we got to reblock. Yeah. And figure it out in a different location.
So most actor directors I know are like, this is so much like to handle. Did you feel that, or did you literally just like, nope, can do this? And did it ever hit you for real? Like, this is
So what was funny when you had mentioned earlier, like, oh, you feel so kind of like stressed, like going into directing and stuff. I did not feel that at all.
Wow.
But I think this is part of my detachment skill.
Yeah.
As soon as the script was locked, I put away my screenwriter hat, right? It was done. No changes to be made there. And then I got into producer mode, raising the money, calling people, casting it, crewing up, director mode as well. I specifically wrote my character to not have like a huge acting job, you know? So I wrote the brother character, Sonny, to have more of the meat.
I love your guys' relationship in this. I mean,
he's amazing.
It's magical.
Yeah, Ritesh Rajan just like killed it.
Did you know him from before or no?
So I had met him a few years before Definition Please. We just hit it off, and we figured out that we had both auditioned for the live-action Aladdin movie. Of course.
Of course.
And so AJ was like, oh, I'm doing this show at the Rockwell. Would you guys like to perform? And I was like, okay, that sounds good. And I was like, I'm not going to do it unless I can change the lyrics to the song, which was the Aladdin. I can show you the A Whole New World.
One of my favorite karaoke songs.
Yeah. So then I changed the lyrics, made it funny. It's called,
that's awesome.
It's called A Diverse Film instead of A Whole New World.
That's awesome.
And so that's where we realized that we could work well together, and we had a lot of chemistry. And then he was one of my first calls for Definition Please.
Oh, that's amazing.
And he said yes, which was incredible. And you know, I didn't have auditions for the movie.
Wow.
I just texted my friends to be in it.
That is brilliant.
And then most of them said yes, and I was like,
I mean, the relationship between you guys felt so personal. Like, you really felt like brother and sister, and I was like crying at the end.
Oh!
Like, it was just like, because I felt like your character just like you said, you kind of put yourself in a shell, right? Like, you hold off all of this emotion, and throughout the movie you feel it. Like, you almost like can't feel like you can't breathe.
The only time I felt like crazy actor-wise was Tesh had come over just to do like a rehearsal in my apartment, and we're sitting on the couch, and I was like, it's gonna be totally chill, we're just reading the lines. Like, we're not acting, right? Yeah. He's like full on like bawling on my couch. And I'm like,
I'm not ready for this.
Oh shit, like I have to bring it. Like, I have to be up to his like level in terms of acting. So that was the time when I was like, oh, okay, I gotta like come prepared.
Yes. Well, good.
Yeah, so.
You always want someone to push you like that, so that's like very fortunate.
So he definitely made me a better actor.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Can we talk about all the hot Asian men in your movie?
That was very specific. I was like, okay, who are the hot Asian guys that I'm friends with?
I love it.
And even like Tesh has his moment where he's in his tighty whities and you can see his bod. And then, of course, Jake Choi, who I had met at an East-West Players Gala. Yeah. And I was just like, oh yeah, this guy's hot. He should play my love interest, you know? And that was like the thing. And then, I know they can all act. Yeah. You know, so Jake, I had just texted, and he's like, yeah, of course I'll come out. You see his butt.
I love it.
In the movie.
You have no idea how important it is to see Asian men that way, because I believe, like, just as we are, we're underrepresented. When you see like these beautiful, hot Asian men, you're like, oh, yes, this is how it should be seen, because this is who they are, you know? And like, here's another side of what Asians can be, and I just thought it was amazing.
Exactly. Let's go back to you and your film, which I loved the theme of colorism. because I feel like Black Americans and Asian Americans deal with this issue. And even in Indian culture, there are celebrities that are hawking, you know, skin lightening creams. And of course, we see it in Filipino culture as well. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I love that it was a dark-skinned Black girl as the lead. You don't see that very often.
Exactly.
And she plays a love interest type as well and gets this hot guy to like her.
So Sherman Payne wrote the movie. He's brilliant, and he's been writing on Shameless for years. He's an incredible writer. This script has gone all over town for 10 years, and like during the pandemic, right before the pandemic, our world has been changing. People are looking at, you know, what's been happening with Black people, with people of color, especially since a certain person was in office, and people wanted to address this. Now the studios and production companies want to look at these issues, and what's the most beautiful thing is that they're looking for stories like this. And he waited 10 years for this to be made, and now it's like, everybody's like, where are these stories? Where are these stories? Let's uplift them. And it was such a powerful thing to be a part of. When I read the script, because I pitched for the movie, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, because I am such a horror fan. I love vampires. I'm obsessed with movies like 30 Days of Night.
Yes.
Which I've seen over 100 times. Like, I know it.
Wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I love it.
That's
like,
an obsession.
Like, if I just want to just, like, chill.
I don't think I've ever watched a movie 30 times.
Exactly.
I, like, enjoy a movie, and if I watch it a second time, that means I really like it.
Oh, I love this movie. I play it, like, all the time, and I'm just, like, analyzing every shot. So when a vampire movie came my way, I'm like, yes, I'm going to make a vampire movie. And also, it's about a young Black girl talking about her skin, her insecurities, you know, it just felt like this is a story that I want to be in, that I could see myself in. And for the first time, I'm like, wow, like girls can be badass too. They can be vampire slayers. And I felt like this girl was me. So I was like, I have to do this movie. And yeah, they talk about colorism a lot, and that's an issue that Filipinos also deal with. I remember growing up and, you know, my family members would say, don't be in the sun for too long, you're gonna get too dark. Like, that's a bad thing, you know? In the Philippines, the people with the dark skin are the help, you know?
Right.
They're not the superstars. The stars are like mestiza. The whiter you look, the more beautiful you are, the darker you are.
It's wild. Sometimes I see Bollywood celebrities and I'm like, they're not white?
Yeah.
It's so strange to me.
Yeah. You go into their beauty stores and there's whitening cream everywhere. And so I really did relate to that because Filipinos go through that, and Asia Cooper, who we cast as the lead, very much relates to this story, which is amazing. She is so beautiful, and she still has those prejudices in her mind that she's not beautiful because she's not up to the standard.
Okay, she's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
Number one.
Gorgeous.
She's amazing.
Exactly.
I was like, she's gonna be, you've just like jump-started her career.
Yeah.
She's gonna be in a Marvel movie or Marvel show.
When she first auditioned, I'm like, yep, that's her.
Yeah.
That's her. It's crazy. I was like, did you go to school? How did you train? She's like, oh, I just like loved it. And so I just like started auditioning, and she's like,
wow.
I'm like, that's a God-given talent that like you're supposed to be here. Like this is what you're meant to do, because she's incredible. It did something for us mentally and emotionally for the people involved in the project. And I think that it's gonna have such an impact on young women everywhere who deal with, am I beautiful because I'm dark-skinned, you know?
Yeah.
And we're redefining what it means to be a hero. And I'm just really excited for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to like Blumhouse,
yes.
which is like, oh my God, we love Blumhouse. They've made amazing horror films. To be able to work with a producer like that, how was that experience?
It's honestly so surreal. But like 7 years ago, I was at South by Southwest, and I'm standing in line to watch Blum talk with a bunch of directors for their panel. I wrote in my diary when I was 14, I was like, I want to make horror films. And when I saw, you know, Blum's movies coming out, I'm like, oh my God, it's my dream to like direct one of these movies one day. And I remember I was at South by Southwest, and I'm like, I just want to see him talk. I want to see how the directors got there, how'd they do it. I was in line for like 3 hours. And they were letting people in, and I got to the door, and they're like, sorry, we've hit our capacity. And I was like, man, if I can't even get to see a panel. How am I ever going to direct a movie?
Wow.
And the first production meeting, like a few days before we're about to shoot, and I remember like just presenting in front of the execs, in front of the crew, and just like crying because I'm like, I can't believe my dream is coming true. This is real. Like, you literally can achieve your dreams, and that's insanity.
Hold on, did you get into the panel?
No. I didn't get into the panel.
I thought you were going to be scrappy and like get in the back door.
I didn't get in.
That's a cool story.
It's a crazy,
That's a really fun full circle moment.
It is. So for all the people that are going to be watching, a lot of them are going to be people that want to be filmmakers. What is like your top 3 like tips or advice for people, you know, that want to make movies?
Wow. Top 3 pieces of advice. I would say watch as many films as you can. That's something I did during the pandemic.
Good.
I feel like I put myself through film school during the pandemic. I printed out the AFI movie list.
I did that too.
Yeah. And then you like cross it off after you're done. Yeah. I was like, how have I never seen Goodfellas before? And it's incredible.
I know. Yes.
And so, you know, Midnight Cowboy, The Graduate, all these incredible movies that maybe could be sort of dated, but you have to really remember the time that it was made, and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And then I get ideas, and then I get inspired. And so you got to take the time to watch movies.
Yeah.
So that's number 1. Number 2, I would say you got to create your own work.
Yes.
What are you waiting for?
1000%.
Both done that.
Yes.
You know, when I met you, you were an HBO visionary.
Exactly.
I was the ambassador.
Yes.
You know, the olden days. And you made this incredible film on a cruise, and you guerrilla shot the entire thing. And I remember watching the scene with you underneath the iceberg. She stole that shot.
Yes.
Like, how do you steal an iceberg shot? You know? Shoot it on your phone. You can get good sound equipment on Amazon. Maybe not the best sound equipment, but... And number 3, I would say, tell your story. No matter how small you think it is, no matter how much you think, oh, people aren't going to want to see this on screen. I promise you, if you're an Asian American who grew up in Des Moines, Iowa, you probably have a very cool, specific, unique story that I would love to see on screen.
Exactly.
And so don't put down your experiences and what you've been through. I would say start from a personal, authentic place when telling those first couple of stories, and then you can kind of expand from there. But especially in the beginning, what's the easiest thing to do is write from your own experience.
Exactly. What I feel like some people want to do, especially like filmmakers that are just starting out, they're like, what does the studios want? What are they going to buy? What do the audience want? To go back to what you're saying is like, take your own story, because what makes you so different and special is what's going to make your story stand out.
Yep.
And I saw that within your movie. You're going to connect to so many people that are like, that was my experience too. And it validates your experience. You know, like some Indian girl out there is going to hear your story and is like, wow, she can make a movie. She can talk about her life and like the specificities of how a funeral or a memorial is handled. Like, that's so different that like I've never seen any of that. Okay, so that's yours. So let me you could also do my own.
Yeah. You said you agreed with all 3 of mine.
I do,
so we'll just say those are part of your 3, and now you have to add on.
Okay, I'll add. Okay, determination is huge. I think never giving up, because it is hard. You're gonna hear rejections and no's all day long, and you know that as an actress. I know that as an actress. I've heard so many no's in my life, but
it's all about the one yes.
It's the one yes. So tell the story that lights you on fire, that you have to tell, that's burning in your brain and your heart to tell. Not every story is for every single person, but you know, if you knock on enough doors, you're gonna get the dream that you've always wanted.
So over the pandemic, there were some studies done about who stayed in their field and who didn't.
Yeah.
So people in entertainment were the ones who stayed in their field.
Yes.
Because we're scrappy.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it no matter what. And
yes.
we have to do it. There's something in us.
Passion.
There's passion.
Yeah.
There's heart. There's no other choice for us.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that was, when I read that, I was like, of course. Of course.
Yes.
So that's part of the excitement.
Would you rather be doing something else where you just mentally check out until you get off at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Like,
but yeah, I definitely feel like when you love what you're doing, you're never going to want to clock out.
Never, never. Like whatever it is, it doesn't have to be filmmaking. Whatever your passion is, it could be like making flower arrangements. That could like light your fire. Just do it.
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
And follow that. And I think through the pandemic, a lot of people had time to figure out what they really wanted to be doing.
Yeah.
And for us, we were already doing it.
Exactly. To keep a schedule. For me, it was like, ooh, okay.
Stay organized.
Yes.
Keep a schedule. I like it. I'm very organized.
Yes, you have to be. Second one is like make a schedule, because you can keep saying like, oh yeah, I'll write that thing later, or you know, like I'll put it off, whatever. I like to apply to things because it keeps me accountable. And like, yeah, I might not get that one, whatever grant, or, you know, make it into that film festival, but it gives me a schedule. Like by the end of the year, you know, the Sundance screenwriting thing is always due. I have to write a feature by then.
That's a nice little bit of advice.
Yes.
Okay. And so you provide your own accountability, though.
Well, I have a filmmaking partner, Brody
Yeah.
Engelhard, who's amazing, who I make most of everything with, and is also my fiance.
Oh, congratulations,
girl! Thank you. But we keep each other accountable. I'm more of the calendar person, because if I don't do it, then I'm just But you just keep doing that over and over and over, holding yourself accountable to make these deadlines, to create, to constantly create and finish what you're doing. And then also like to be able to like turn it into all these like different festivals. It's like, oh, I got a product. I got like a short film done. Like here it is.
It's all about the product.
Yes, exactly.
I love that you said finish.
Yes.
So that's really important.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people start scripts, a lot of people start shooting stuff, and then they never finish. I see this especially in shorts.
Yeah.
Is that you're editing it, and you're a perfectionist, which a lot of us are, and then you're like, well, the world cannot see this because it's not perfect. You know what? It's never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Put it out. You can, on your next short, you can learn from your mistakes.
Exactly.
Improve. Something that I always like to talk about is watch the first 3 episodes of Awkward Black Girl on YouTube. And you're watching and you're like, huh.
They just get
sound is kind of funky. Production design, super funky. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then it gets a little bit better.
Yep.
By the 4th episode. And then it gets even better. And then second season, Pharrell was financing it. So it got a lot better.
Yeah.
And where are we now?
Exactly.
You know, we're getting Emmy nominated for Insecure. So that's really important, the finishing of it.
Yeah. You can't be perfect. Nobody's perfect. And then the third one is you like to shut off, but I have so much anxiety. And so for me, and with a lot of people who are afraid of perfection or afraid of finishing because they want to be perfect, I've done a lot of meditation and self-help.
Cool.
To handle all of this pressure, because as you grow and your projects get bigger and your crew gets bigger, and I'm about to do like literally 100 interviews for this movie, which is so amazing.
That's so fun.
Talking about myself and our stuff is like, that's a lot of pressure, you know? And you've got to think about like, how are they going to see me? But you know, what meditation has helped me do is focus on the bigger picture and let all the stuff that doesn't matter fall away, because my bigger purpose in the world is to create these stories that help those little girls at home say, I'm beautiful, you know? What
you're talking about is just self-care in general.
Yes.
So when you're an artist, when you're a creator, you got to take time for yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't meditate. Meditation stresses me out. Oh. Because I'm not normally a stressful person.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got that mindfulness app.
Calm. Yeah.
And I had like a year free from something, and I started doing it, and I was like, why am I stressed out right now?
It has the opposite effect.
This is so weird.
Oh my God.
And so my self-care, even while we were shooting the movie, is sleep.
Yeah.
I have to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night.
Right.
And I made sure that I did that, even
great.
during the movie shoot.
I don't know, I just feel really lucky to be able to do what we're doing, honestly.
Yeah, it's great. I wake up every morning and I'm super grateful that I can work on my dreams and I'm living my dream.
Yeah.